Hello, everyone out there. Hope you're all doing fantastic. So, first and foremost, you're probably wondering why are you so fashionably late on your stream today, Wonder Bro? And the reason behind that is I'm not feeling the hottest today. I'm going to be honest. I'm not feeling the greatest. Stomach is a little upset. Not really sure what's going on with that. Like it's not too bad. It's not too bad. I mean, I'm here, right? I'm streaming, so it can't be that bad. But I just don't feel 100%. So I waited around a bit until I felt a little bit better, at least well enough to do a stream. So that is why we're fashionably late today. I'm not running face cam tonight. I'm probably not going to be highly energetic tonight for those reasons. Just not 100%. But we're here. We're here, man, and we're going to talk about what you give power to. I made a point yesterday. I believe it was on the Discord. We were talking about what you give power to as far as your thoughts are concerned. It was mostly a conversation based on intrusive thoughts. This, however, can apply to anxiety symptoms as well, right? So we're going to talk about that tonight. What you give power to. So, yeah, we might not be 100%. We might be fashionably late, but I still believe this is going to be a pretty good stream. Maybe we'll get to see some new faces in here tonight with the time zones and everything like that. I don't know. We'll see. What is going on? Sanchez, what's up, dude? First in chat. Whoa, welcome. I hope you feel better. I appreciate that. What's up, Lick? Welcome, dude. Yo, Wonder Bro. Hello. Wonder Bro, eat a plain baked potato, no salt. I don't even know if I have any potatoes in the house right now, but I will check. And if I do, I might just give that a try. Thank you for the suggestion. I'm assuming the potato just soaks up all the yuckiness. I don't know. But yeah, so might not be face cam tonight. Might not be highly energetic, but I still feel like I can do a decent stream for you guys. I still feel like we can talk about some important topics. So just bear with me a little bit, and we will get through this together. We will get through this together, and we will have an awesome stream. I believe it. We're going to jump straight into this one. Don't want to wait around too long, so we're just going to jump straight into this one. The point of tonight's stream, you guys, is what you give power to. Now, like I said, we discussed this topic the other day on the Discord. It was mostly based around negative, intrusive thoughts. What you give power to, right, has power over you, and that's what we're mostly going to be talking about tonight. So what you give power to. Now, you guys have probably been at this for a while, correct? You've dealt with the negative intrusive thoughts. You've dealt with the anxiety symptoms for quite some time. The problem that most people run into, and the reason that people end up in this cycle and stay in this cycle ultimately, is this sense of getting in their head and trying to figure it all out, trying to argue with it, trying to come up with solutions. Now, I can't speak for everyone here, but I know for myself personally, I was never willing for the longest time, and this is really what kept me stuck. I was never willing to let a thought kind of just say what it wants to say without my participation, right? I would get so participated in the thoughts and so consumed in the thoughts and having these mental internal kind of conversations with myself over all of my thoughts and symptoms, right, that I wasn't able to truly for the longest time allow them to simply be. So the biggest problem that a lot of people run into as far as these intrusive thoughts are concerned, as far as these symptoms are concerned, is that they hold this mental debate with themselves over these things, right? And really, this all comes down to you basically fueling the fire, right? That's an analogy that we love to use here. What you give power to will continue to have power over you, right? So let's say, we love examples here. Let's say you have a negative intrusive thought that says, oh, bad thing is going to happen, right? That's usually the form that negative intrusive thoughts like to take. Bad thing is going to happen. If you follow that up with a bunch of internal mental dialogue that is rooted in worry, obsession, and second fear, you are giving power to that thought that says, oh, bad thing is going to happen. People do that because they believe that they can win at this chess match with their mind, right? Oh, there's that thought. I can't leave it unchecked. I can win at this chess match. I can challenge my mind and fight with it for hours if need be, right? If need be, and I will come out the victor and I will feel better, right? That's the false belief. The false belief is that you have to get in this chess match with your mind, and the false belief is that you will win this chess match with your mind, and I'm here to tell you you're not going to win that one. If you could win that one, you wouldn't be here on my channel. Let's be honest with ourselves for a second. How many of you in chat have tried to win this chess match with your mind? The mind says something, an intrusive thought, or it says something about your symptoms, and then you try to debate with it. How many of you have taken on that challenge and actually succeeded? Probably zero, right? Because essentially at the end of the day, all you're doing when you take on this chess match with your mind and your symptoms is signing up for a losing battle. You are giving power to things that you don't want to have power. You don't want these negative intrusive thoughts to have all this power, correct? Well, when you try to debate with them, you are giving them the power that you don't want them to have. You don't want these symptoms to totally control everything that you do and your entire thought process, but when you get up in your head and you start giving them power, that is essentially what you're doing. You are giving them enough power to have control over you, right? So when it comes to acceptance, accepting your physical symptoms of anxiety, accepting the negative intrusive thoughts, you really have to think of it in the terms of a power exchange, right? It is very much a power exchange. Are you willing to give power to these things, right? Or are you going to accept what comes and goes, the thoughts and feelings, and instead pour your power, which is your focus, your energy, pour your power, pour your focus, pour your energy into other things that are not these intrusive thoughts, that are not these symptoms. So you are accepting the presence of these intrusive thoughts. You are accepting the presence of these symptoms, but with your mental energy, you are no longer pouring that mental energy into a fight, into a debate, into an obsession, into an argument. You are instead pouring that mental energy into doing something else. We call that positive behavior. Do you see how this all comes back to the two main keys? What are the two main keys? Accept your thoughts and feelings, positive behavior, aka live your life, do things. Do things. That's the simple way of putting it. Do things, right? So the two main keys work like this. You're going to accept the presence of these intrusive thoughts when they come and go, and of these symptoms when they come and go. You're going to accept their presence, but you are then going to put your mental energy, your mental power, into something else in reality. We call that living life. So let's give an example. Intrusive thought comes in, whatever your intrusive thoughts are, it comes in, it hits you hard, it causes these anxiety symptoms. At that moment, you have a choice. You can say to yourself, I accept these thoughts and feelings. Taking the dog for a walk, into cleaning up your room, tidying up your space, into a funny movie, a funny video, into your favorite song, right? You can choose to put your mental power into something other than arguing with these thoughts and feelings, because when you do that, you are giving them power. So what you give power to is going to have power over you. And it's very tempting. I know that it's very tempting when you have these thoughts, when you have these symptoms, to want to put your power into them, to want to put your mental power into them. Because again, you've got that false belief that you need to do something about these feelings and thoughts, right? You've got that false belief that maybe you can. At the end of the day, when you log in mentally to trying to fight with these thoughts and feelings, all you're doing, all you're accomplishing is giving them your power, right? You are giving them your power. You are giving them power in general. They're going to grow as a result. What you give power to, main point of the stream, what you give power to has power over you. So the question is, are you willing and dedicated enough to, next time these thoughts roll around and they want you to give them power, are you willing to just accept them instead and then go take the dog for a walk and focus your power there, right? It's all about where you're focusing your power. Are you willing to, next time you have these thoughts running around in your head, and I know they can be intense. I'm not here to say they're not intense. I understand, right? But are you willing to experience the next time you have these thoughts and feelings, no matter how intense they are you willing to accept them, and instead of putting your mental power into trying to fight with them mentally and obsess, are you willing to accept them and then put your power into something else, right? Garza says, before you use the two main keys, you notice your thoughts. How long should you notice your thoughts before you get sucked in the rabbit hole? Well, that's up to you, right? The thoughts come in, and then if you decide to fight with them and argue with them and obsess over them, then you're going to go down the rabbit hole. So that is up to you, how long it takes for you to go down the rabbit hole. If you're willing to accept the thought, accept the feeling, and put your mental power elsewhere into positive living instead of the obsession, right? Accept the thoughts, accept the feelings, then you won't go down the rabbit hole. Now, it takes practice, right? It takes practice, and it takes a certain level of willingness. No one can do this for you, right? So the next time you're feeling very anxious or you're having negative intrusive thoughts, are you going to put a lot of mental power into the obsession, or are you going to purposely and with dedication and effort put that mental power elsewhere, into positive living, into doing something other than obsessing, right? Now, you might have to catch that a lot. You might have to catch that a lot. You might have to catch the thoughts and feelings. Okay, I'm going down the rabbit hole. Someone said I watched a documentary, and then now I'm afraid I'm going to develop this, and all these bad things are going to happen. So already you're doing the obsessing, right? Already you're doing the obsessing. You're so far down the rabbit hole you don't even realize it. At this point in time, you have a choice. Do you continue to do the obsession? I'm going to tell you, you're not going to win, right? You're not going to convince your mind through trying to use logic. That's not going to happen. Are you willing to, at this point in time, use the two main keys? Are you willing to say, okay, I accept the way I feel, I accept the thoughts I'm having, but I'm going to start putting my mental power into something else, in reality, into some positive behavior. I'm going to go sing my favorite song. I want to put my mental power there instead of putting my mental power into fighting with these thoughts and feelings. Are you willing to do that? Takes effort. Takes dedication, right? You're shifting your mental power. You're taking your power elsewhere. Right now, what's happening is you've got all these questions. Oh, God, what if this happens? And you're going down this rabbit hole and you're obsessing. Are you willing to catch that, right? And put your mental power elsewhere. Now, I don't know what that thing is. I don't know what positive living is to you. Maybe you need to go take your dog for a walk. Maybe you need to tidy up your space. Maybe you want to have a conversation with your friend about aliens. I don't know, right? But whatever you give power to, and this is the main point, whatever you give power to is going to have power over you. Okay? So whatever you give power to is going to have power over you. Now, if you give power to this thought and you put all of your power into trying to fight with it and argue with it and obsess about it, then it's going to have power over you. So it's all about where you put your power. Are you willing to accept the thoughts and feelings and then make the conscious choice to be dedicated enough to put your power elsewhere? Now, the thoughts and feelings might still be knocking out the door. They might still be very intense, but you are purposely, with dedication and effort, putting your power elsewhere while you accept these thoughts and feelings. So you are accepting the thoughts and feelings, but you are funneling your power into something else, positive behavior, positive living, some other sort of activity other than obsession, right? Other than obsession. So, very tempting to want to go down that rabbit hole, very tempting to want to do the obsession, very tempting to want to see where that goes. However, the more power you give to these things, the more power they have over you. And that will always be the case. All right, you guys. So I know I was a little under the weather. I'm trying to find my charger before this dies. I do not want this to die. Where's my charger? Oh, come on, man. Come on, man. Where's my charger? There we go. Okay, got it. Got it. My apologies. Got it. All right. I know I was a little under the weather this stream, probably not a high level of energy. I apologize for that. Still wanted to come on and do a stream regardless. I hope it was decent. I hope you got my point that I'm trying to make tonight as far as giving your power to things. You know, what you give power to has power over you, and that's the main point of the stream. You know, are you willing to accept the thoughts and feelings and then put your power into something productive? Or are you going to continue to give these things power, right? That choice is always yours to make. And I hope you start, I hope you decide to make the choice that you're no longer going to give power to these things. Okay, you guys? So that was the point of tonight's stream. We're going to get some tunes going. We're going to get some music rolling. Any suggestions? Let's see here. Do we have any suggestions on the music we should get into tonight? Any suggestions? Let's see. Let's see what playlist we're working with. Let's see what playlist we're working with. Okay. We'll do some lo-fi for now, and if you guys have any suggestions, we'll take those. So we'll get some lo-fi going. Uh. All right. There we go. There we go. Sorry, I'm not on the ball tonight, man. I'm not on the ball tonight. Let's see here. We got a $30 tip coming in from Gustavo. Gustavo, thank you so much, dude. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Gustavo, can we give a round of applause to my boy in the chat? I would really appreciate it. Thank you, dude. Hey, what's up, Pootie? I didn't see you sneak in there. So I'm always scared. So I wanna make a point here. And again, thank you, Gustavo, so much for the $30 tip, dude. Show him some love in the chat. I appreciate it. I am struggling tonight. Don't feel too well, and you guys are still in here supporting me, man. That means more to me than you know. So you say, so I'm always scared. So you give a reason. You're trying to justify why you're always scared. You're saying, you know, I struggle with that fear because of the trauma and this childhood, and people are more likely to go crazy, and I watched a documentary. So you're justifying why you're scared all the time, which doesn't work. And I'll tell you why it doesn't work. Because the reason you're scared all the time is not because your fear is justified, because it's not. Now you might say, well, Wonder Bro, I just give you a bunch of facts on why it is justified. Listen, the reason you're scared all the time, because that's a reality for all of us. We all live in a world where these things happen. But we're not scared. I'm not scared. I'm not scared of I could watch a documentary about the same thing you watched a documentary about and not be scared about it. But at the same time, I live in the same world as you. The reason I'm not scared all the time, or all the other people who've watched the same documentary are not scared all the time, is because they're not in their heads obsessing about it. When you continue to set the alarm off with your obsession, you're going to be scared all the time. That's why you're putting power into this thing, and it's got power over you now, right? So the reason you're scared all the time is not because your fear is necessarily justified. The reason you're scared all the time is because you're up in your head giving this thing power. So the two main keys really are positive behavior, show your brain that the tiger doesn't exist, right? And shut down that obsession. Replace that obsession with the accepting attitude. How do you do that? When you have the thoughts, you give yourself a nice little reminder. You can be there if you want. You take the focus elsewhere, right? You take the focus elsewhere. You take it into positive living. You put the focus into music. You put it into life. You put it into hobbies. You put it into family. You put it wherever you want to put it, except for the obsession, which we call the rabbit hole, which we call the second fear, what Dr. Claire Weeks called the second fear. So that is why you're scared all the time, because right now your focus and your power is going into full-blown obsession over this thing that you're afraid of. right? So you're continuing to set the alarm off in the amygdala through the worry, through the worry. So in order to put an end to this, you have to adopt the accepting attitude. The thought comes, right? Oh, this might happen. I watched this documentary and this bad thing might happen. There's the thought. You can go down the rabbit hole of obsession, which is what you're currently doing, or you can say, okay, that's fine. I'm gonna say okay to that thought, and then I'm gonna put my power and focus into living, into positive behavior. I'm gonna put it into something else other than the obsession, right? And that's the two main keys right there. So we accept the thoughts and feelings. We don't go the obsessive route. We make the conscious choice to say okay to it, and then we purposely put the focus and intention onto positive living, onto life, right? You can give yourself as many little accepting reminders as you need to stay out of that obsessive rabbit hole, and you might need a lot, right? But if it keeps you out of the obsession, like every time the thought pops up, you say, okay, you're allowed to be there, and then you put the focus into positive living, positive behavior, then you're using the two main keys perfectly. Now, you might have to rinse and repeat that quite a bit, but if it keeps you out of the second fear, if it keeps you out of the worry, if it keeps you out of the obsession, then that is fine, no matter how many times you have to rinse and repeat that. You've been trying to fight with your mind for so long, and it's not getting you anywhere. Maybe it's time to give yourself a break, right? Maybe it's time to give yourself a break. I know it's time to give yourself a break, right? I know it's time to give yourself a break. And I think you know it's time to give yourself a break. But what it's going to come down to now is, are you willing to do that work? Every time that triggering thought rolls around, are you willing to keep yourself out of the rabbit hole by giving yourself an accepting reminder, hey, you're allowed to be here, whatever, and then put the focus elsewhere, back into positive behavior, back into living. 2 seconds later, you might have to do that again. Are you willing to stay on the ball? Are you willing to put in that work, keep yourself out of that rabbit hole, and live your life with some positive behavior? Are you willing to do these two keys? If the answer to that question is yes, I don't even care if you have to crawl at first. But if the answer to that question is yes, we're going to make some progress. Again, even if you have to crawl at first, you are very much capable, right? You're scaring yourself. You're falling down that rabbit hole and you're scaring yourself. But I just gave you the keys to get out of it. You might have to use them a lot, right? But if you're willing to, you will overcome it. You will overcome it. I have no doubt about that in my mind. The choice is yours to make, right? I can't force anybody to do it. I'm just here kind of pointing you in the right direction. Now, whether or not you want to do that, or if you're willing to do that, is going to be up to you. I'm just giving you, my opinion, my facts here. So, let's see. I'm getting a phone call. Interesting. Sorry, can't answer that. I am streaming. There we go. Choice is yours, man. Choice is yours. I know how tempting it is. I know how strong the pull of negative thoughts can be, but you got to keep yourself out of that rabbit hole no matter how many reminders you have to give yourself, and you got to get right back into that positive living instead. You got to do the positive living instead of the obsession, right? You got to keep yourself out of that rabbit hole. You got to rinse and repeat it. Sanchez in the chat, for example, my boy, he's been making great progress. Great progress. He can vouch for me when I say that you might have to use a lot of accepting reminders to keep yourself out of the rabbit hole, out of the obsession. You might have to do that a lot. He can vouch for me, right? Anybody who's made it to the other side is going to tell you that you might have to do that a lot. You might have to do that a lot. Right? You might get 100 negative thoughts a day that you want to fight with, but instead you just have to give yourself a little accepting reminder, stay out of that obsession, stay out of that fight, and then turn the focus, turn the power back into positive living. You might have to rinse and repeat that 100 times, 500 times, 1,000 times a day at first, right? And anybody who's made it to the other side is going to vouch for that. I can guarantee it, because they wouldn't have made it to the other side. They wouldn't have made it to the other side unless they had to rinse and repeat that quite a bit. I know it's tempting. I know the pull of negative thoughts and the urge to obsess over them and fight with them and worry about them is very strong. I know all that. But you know, it takes work, it takes dedication, it takes effort. You're allowed to go at your own pace. You can start with a crawl, it doesn't matter. But the two main keys are right there for you. Whenever you want to pick them up and start using them, they're always going to be right there. So they're always going to be right there. It's just a matter of your own willingness at that point. And it does take work. It does take practice. You really got to stay on the ball, man. You really got to hold yourself accountable. You really got to hold yourself accountable. I do agree with your comment. I mean, everyone has like specific. I have a hard time saying that word. Specific, phobias or fears. Acceptance, of course, is going to be the way to conquer those if you wish to do so. You have to go through it and keep yourself out of the obsession, rather just face and accept, as Dr. Claire Weeks would put it. So the advice really still applies here. But I do agree with that comment. Everybody has phobias or certain fears, even if we're not necessarily talking about, anxiety. No music, brother. Oh, shit. I've got it turned down so low that you guys can't even hear it. My bad. I've had music going this whole time. It was just really low. It was just really low. How you doing, Kate? I've had to use 100 reminders today. I mean, if it keeps you out of that rabbit hole, if every time a thought rolls around, you have to just say, hey, you're allowed to be, or maybe the more aggressive approach, hey, get worse. I don't care. Whatever you want your reminder to be. If you have to use that 100 times a day and then turn the focus back into positive living, that's fine. That's fine. Whatever it takes to keep yourself out of the what Dr. Claire Weeks called second fear, which is just worry and obsession. Whatever it takes to keep yourself out of that, that's fine. That's fine. Use your accepting reminders to these thoughts and feelings, and then get right back into pouring your power, your focus, your attention into the positive living. That's the two main keys. No matter how many times you have to use your reminders. What's up, Savannah? I mean, it's such a habit. It really is just a habit. You might find yourself drifting off mentally into fighting with your thoughts several hundred times a day. If you can catch that and keep yourself out of the rabbit hole by giving yourself an accepting reminder and then getting right back to that positive behavior, the two keys, then great. Do that as many times as you need to do that. And don't beat yourself up. That's another important fact. Don't beat yourself up if you do catch yourself slipping down the second fear route, the rabbit hole, so to speak. If you catch it and turn it into an accepting reminder and get back to positive living, then you score a point, man. You score a point. So don't beat yourself up. You might have to catch it a lot. It's not something you have to be perfect at. You just got to catch it. You just got to catch it. You just got to catch it. It's not about being perfect and never experiencing any more of the rabbit hole or the second fear. No, you're probably going to experience that, but as long as you catch it and keep yourself from going so deep into that obsession, then you're doing good. You're doing good. You're eliminating what Dr. Claire Weeks called second fear little by little, little by little. Thank you, bad dudes. Nothing but a little bump in the road. Exactly, Kate. That's the right attitude. That's the right attitude. I mean, that's a good example. You had a tough day. Whatever. You could have gotten to your head about it and went down the second fear route. You could have done all of the obsessing, right? All of the obsessing about this, that, or the other. But instead, you decided to give yourself accepting reminders. You said you had to use plenty today, right? But it kept you out of the obsession. It kept you more into the accepting and out of the obsession, and you did what you had to do. You did what you had to do. You probably, I don't want to speak for you, but you probably were very tempted to do the obsession. There was probably points throughout your day where you noticed you were kind of in your head wanting to do the obsession, but instead you decided to give yourself some, accepting little reminder and get back to living, and you had to do that quite often. So you were probably very tempted, but you didn't go down that route. You kept yourself out of that route, and you did the right thing. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. The temptation is strong. The temptation is strong, but you stayed out of it. You stayed out of it. And that deserves a round of applause. There is no denying how strong the obsessive second fear habit is. And to replace that with an accepting attitude, using that accepting reminders, as we call them, instead of doing the obsession, that takes work, and there's no denying that. Once you do that, you get right back into the positive behavior. The two main keys together: rinse and repeat, right? Rinse and repeat. Example: negative intrusive thought, blah, blah, blah. You say to yourself, okay, be there if you will. Or maybe the more aggressive approach, be as bad as you want to be. Make me feel as bad as you want to make me feel. And then you did turn the attention back into positive behavior, back into positive living. That's very much a rinse and repeat process. That's something that you've got to hold yourself accountable for. It's something that you've got to work at. It's something that you've really got to put some effort into. It's not something that just comes naturally or falls out of the sky and just lands in your lap. I wish it did. For your sake. But, it's something that you can accomplish if you're willing to put in the work. Absolutely.
Donation.
Garza, my boy. Let it play. I like the little gif you chose there. Garza with the $20 tip says, every now and then I get those deep thoughts where it's hard to focus through the day, and I tell myself the accepting thoughts, but I still have those deep negative thoughts still pop up. Yeah, that's normal. So let's talk about that for a second. So some people do assume, and thank you so much again for the $20 tip, dude. That takes us to tip goal, which takes us to 122 days. I really appreciate that, chat. I'm not feeling 100% tonight, as I've already said, and I don't know, I just feel icky. Feel like I'm getting sick or something. Hopefully it's just a bump in the road, as Kate would call it. But you guys are still here in full force supporting me, and I can't thank you enough. Not 100%, and you guys are still out here supporting me and showing me all the love. I really do appreciate it. Anyway, let's talk about that. So a lot of people, maybe not a lot, but some do assume that when they start keeping themselves out of the rabbit hole, so to speak, that the thoughts are just going to disappear, which is not true. They are still going to pop up, and that's why I use the term rinse and repeat quite a bit here on the channel. You do have to rinse and repeat this. You could, for example, right? You could, for example, have a thought, a deep negative thought, as you call it, pop up, And then you say to yourself, let's say you take the aggressive approach. You say to yourself, okay, say whatever you want to say. Be as loud as you want to be. And then you take the attention back into living life, positive behavior. You do that once, and I wish that was the end of it. However, that's just not true. That's just not true. It's probably going to pop up again and again and again, throughout your day. And if you're just getting started, it's probably going to be more frequent, especially if you're just getting started. So yeah, understand that. That's why I use the term rinse and repeat so often here, because it is something that you have to rinse and repeat. It's not a one and done. It's not a one and done. You have to keep yourself out of that second fear rabbit hole, right? Quite often. You might have to use your reminders quite often. You might have to give yourself an accepting statement. I think Kate said 100 times, right? And then get back to living, then put the focus back on living. You might have to catch that and do that quite often. Hello, Wonder Bro. I lost the comment. I saw a YouTube video today that said anxiety is partly due to genetics. I guess someone is more prone. Thoughts? My thoughts are that the advice doesn't change, right? Let's say that you had a bad childhood. The advice doesn't change. Let's say your dad was an anxious person. The advice doesn't change. My dad was an extremely anxious person and depressed person. He lived a good life, but he had his moments where he was extremely depressed and anxious. But the advice doesn't change, right? I didn't, learning the advice and using the advice, I didn't have to go the same route. Let's say your anxiety started over a certain situation that happened to you. The advice doesn't change. Bad childhood. The advice doesn't change. My dad was an anxious person. The advice doesn't change. My mom was an anxious person. The advice doesn't change. My great-great-grandma on my mother's side was an anxious person. I don't know, whatever. The advice doesn't change. What you give power to has power over you, period. Whether it's because of this or because of that, whatever the reason is that you find yourself in this boat where you are obsessing over your thoughts and feelings and giving them so much fuel and power, and as a result, frying your nervous system. Regardless of what put you in this situation and gave you that trait to be an obsessive person, the advice does not change, right? So that's my opinion on that. The fact that you're watching anxiety videos today on YouTube about anxiety probably being genetic tells me that you're still trying to find some sort of miracle that doesn't exist. You're probably obsessing, right? You're probably obsessing. Maybe I can get on YouTube and look up anxiety being genetic and get the answers that I'm looking for. You won't find them. You've already found the answers that you're looking for. Whether or not you're using those answers is up to you. 2 main keys all day long, right? All day long. You continue to fight and obsess over these thoughts and feelings, you're going to get more or less the same. However, if you continue to use your accepting reminders whenever they pop up, stay out of the rabbit hole, go back to the positive living. That is the 2 main keys, positive behaviors. Stay out of the rabbit hole, right? You do that, you'll make progress. You do that, you'll make progress. Thank you, Savannah. You're so sweet. You're so kind. You're so sweet. You're so kind. Style alert. Style alert. Looking up videos on anxiety and genetics and doing that obsession. Do we have to bring out Claire? Do we? I think we do. I'm sorry, we got to do it to you. We got to do it to you. What can I say? You spent the day looking at anxiety videos about genetics. That tells me you're still doing the obsession. You're not using the accepting reminders. You're still obsessing. You're still going down that route. I got to bring out Claire on you, but it's only because I love you. But I got to do it to you. I got to do it to you. Style alert has triggered Miss Claire. Claire has entered the chat. Our big fluffy Claire. We're going to get you out of that rabbit hole, right? Right, we're going to get you out of that rabbit hole. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. No, not the bunny. Hey, you know, we got to call it like we see it. We got to call it like we see it. If somebody's down the rabbit hole, not using their accepting reminders, too obsessed, we got to bring it out. We got to bring it out. We got to call it like we see it. I hate to do it to you. I hate to do it to you. Right? But it's the only way you're going to learn. We got to bring out Claire. All right, that's enough. That's enough. We'll take her away. What is this, Shrek? Interesting. Interesting. That's a thing, apparently. That is a thing, apparently. Down the rabbit hole this close to Easter. Yes. April Fool's stream tomorrow. Is tomorrow April's Fool's? I did not know that. You must be, Carissa. That's okay. That's okay, because that's what we're here for, just to help you figure out how to stay out of it. And it's really going to come down to those accepting reminders. It's really going to come down to those accepting reminders. Haven't had any motivation to do anything for this year so far. I'm over my anxiety, thankfully, but this is bad as well. So you're in a resting period. I'd call it a resting period. If you want to start to get some motivation rolling, however, remember that little quote that we talk about here all the time. Feeling follows action, right? So a lot of people wait to find the motivation to do the things they want to do. However, that's a slippery slope. I would recommend instead you just start. And that might be hard, but I recommend that you just start, because feeling follows action and not the other way around. So meditate on those words for a minute. Feeling follows action, not the other way around. Think about that for just a second. Think about what those words really mean. Good stream, man. Good stream. Again, I've already said it a handful of times, but I do appreciate you guys coming out and supporting the stream, regardless of the fact that I'm feeling a little bit icky. So probably not as enthusiastic and high energy as I normally am. But you guys still came out full force and supported the stream, and that means a ton to me. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Who's in California time? It's about almost midnight here. Where's all the likes at? Hey, yeah, I forgot to remind you guys. Kate's got my back. If you did enjoy the stream, or if you are enjoying the stream rather, make sure you give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. It helps get this advice out to the people that desperately need it. I can't grow the channel without your support, so I do appreciate it. Sorry, I was trying to be funny. Nothing to apologize about. Laughter is the best medicine after all, right? I can't think of a more positive behavior than laughter. Yeah, exactly. It brings us all together. Exactly. I'm in Central. Sorry. I'm in Central. Did I miss everything? You did, but I can give you a quick catch up. No worries. You can always watch the stream later, but I'll give you a brief little summary here. So basically tonight we talked about giving your power away. Anytime you have a negative intrusive thought, if you reply to it with, okay, you know, that's fine, and then you turn the attention and focus back into positive living, right, and you don't give yourself an accepting reminder, and instead you just let yourself get totally carried away with obsession, right, then you're giving your power away. You are giving power to these thoughts and feelings, therefore they are going to have power over you, right? So it was really just a stream to kind of summarize the two main keys. That's what most of the streams are at the end of the day. But yeah, just giving your power away. If you're not using those accepting reminders and instead you're going the obsessive route and you're obsessing over these thoughts and feelings instead of using your accepting inner voice, as Dr. Claire Weeks would call it, then you are giving your power away. And that's basically what this cycle is, just a continuing to give your power to these thoughts and feelings with the obsession. So just a nice little, you know, a nice little stream kind of going over the basics, the fundamentals, the two main keys, the accepting inner voice and the positive living, the two main keys. Many different ways we can word that, but it's all the same at the end of the day. Thanks. Absolutely, Denise. No problem. I don't mind whatsoever. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Sorry, I've been living life like you told us. I love to hear it. Definitely not something to apologize about. Definitely not something to apologize over. Hope you've been well. Sorry, just making some changes to these settings really quick. I'm not ignoring you guys, I promise. I promise. Yes, I've been great. How about you? I'm doing pretty well actually. Tonight I feel a little icky. I think I'm a little sick, but no big deal. We're here. No big deal. We're here. Hey, what's up, Soccer? Welcome to the stream. Sometimes I just feel bad and I don't even know why. Allow yourself to feel whatever it is you feel. And also be more self-aware. What are you telling yourself about the way that you feel? Are you in your head doing any obsession? If so, maybe it's time to use those accepting reminders, put that focus elsewhere, back into that positive living. Try to stay out of those rabbit holes. Hope you've been doing well besides that, though. My birthday is in 7 days' time. Well, happy early birthday. How's Nova and the kitties? They're doing great. I believe Nova's taking a nap right now. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with comments while I do this real quick before I forget. Thank you, Denise. I appreciate it. Kitties. Yes, we've got a few kitties running around. We've got a few running around, driving me nuts. Too cute, though. Too cute, though. Alright, I think I just about got this. Here we go. Something I've been meaning to do for a while. I heard there's gigantic spiders there. No, thank you. Let's see, where are we at? Where are we at? We're almost on that 1 hour mark. We're a couple minutes away. Let's go ahead, get our song going. I'm going to go chill out, relax a little bit. Hopefully I'll feel more 100% next time we're on the stream. And the stomach sort of eases down a little bit. But thank you guys so much for still coming out and supporting the stream regardless, man. I really appreciate it. I love you guys so much. Excellent stream, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm sure I'll see you all very, very soon. Of course, we're going to get our song going. If you did enjoy tonight's stream, man, make sure you leave a thumbs up. And until next time, guys, as always, I believe we're going to shut it down here. Stay awesome. I love you. I love you. Have a great night. Did it die? I'm a stone cold killer, I'm a billionaire. I got my own gold digger. If I wasn't this way, I'd rather die. Did it die? Wait. Did it die? Wait. Did it
you want, I'll be whatever you want. Just tell me you love me or not, whatever it costs. I know I'm talking a lot, there's something I gotta get off. Don't wanna be this no more, I don't wanna drink no more. Always gotta do the most, thinking that I'm insecure. Really should've listened more, but I don't, of course. I'm an asshole, I'm a good guy, I'm your best friend, I'm the worst type. Tell you everything that you heard right, just so I can fuck on the first night. Feel like I'm losing hope, running from coast to coast. I don't know where to go, this all I've ever known. I'm a stone cold killer, I'm a billionaire. I got my own gold digger. If I wasn't this way, I'd rather die. No, did it die? Wait, did it die? Wait, did it die? I'm a stone cold killer, I'm a billionaire. I got my own gold digger. If I wasn't this way, I'd rather die. Won't die. Did it die? Wait, did it die? Wait, did it die? My aunt think I'm perfect, I know I'm not. My mama be worried, I told her stop. They know I did drugs and think that I'm off. Little do they know I never could stop. My manager hate when I'm pulling up late. Back on my bullshit, she think it's a phase. I got relations I gotta maintain. I'm two different people, my side and my main. Yeah, I'm sober, I'm an addict, I'm a lowlife, I got habits, but I refuse to be average. Really so tired of acting, don't know what I miss no more. Too bad you don't hit me more. I'm bad when I get too bored, careful what you wishing for. I'm a